How's it going, everybody? Today we got you a brand new build video. I got my 3-inch quad here. I already installed the 4-in-1 ESC. We got a Lux V3 F4 stack right here. These are BL Heli ESCs. It's a 4-in-1. I think it's rated at 30 amps. I already went ahead and installed these. It took me a while to cut the wires and get them all perfect and whatnot. So pretty much this 20 by 20 stack, so 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters, and this flight controller has little pins right there. Let me see if I can see them right here that just plug in directly to the ESC. So there's no need for a sloppy wire harness that goes from the 4-in-1 to the F4 flight controller. All that's done. I did end up adding the capacitor, the low ESR capacitor that was sent with the kit. Just usually with 4-in-1s, I mean, there's a lot of stuff packed into one board, so you may have some noise in your video. I just want to go ahead and take care of that. I got race strips on here, just this little PCB board that just transmit whatever signals from the ESC through it to the motor. I got these because I had a prop strike on my big one and my 5-inch and just didn't want that to happen again. So I'm going to go ahead and add some components to this. First, I got a Hellgate buzzer. Probably can't see that very well. Got some LED lights on my desk. They're pretty bright. That I'm going to be installing. This thing is fantastic. I got the Runcam Swift. And I did go and get the Runcam TX. It's the video transmitter for this. I just double-sided tape on the back of this. It's a 25 to 200 megawatt switchable VTX. It's a pretty tight build, so I had a Unify on this previously, so this should definitely help with some of the cable management. And then last but not least, got a Crossfire Nano. This has been my receiver. And here's the Immortal T antenna. So I'm going to go ahead and just install. We'll do, let's see here. We'll do the Nano RX first. And I'll go by each step and each component that I add in and show you guys, because I don't want the video to be too long. So if you can see it, at the top where this arrow is, you got 3 pads. Each one of these pads is a different thing. This one right here is S-bus. You got 5 volt and ground. Now, since I'm running Crossfire, I have 2 other wires coming off of it besides 5 volt and ground. One of them is channel 1 and the other is channel 2. So for the Crossfire, the Nano RX, channel 1, which will be this one, closest to the 5 volt, is going to go to the receiver tab, and channel 2 is going to go to the TX tab. So I can't put it up here, so what I'm going to do is, if you flip the board over, under here you have TX3 and RX3. Both of the pins for the UART are laid out, so that's really a good thing about this board. I have enough UARTs to do this Crossfire. So I'm going to go ahead and solder those up. Let's see here. Right. You always want to have a clean soldering tip. Put a little bit of solder on there, and usually I add some flux, but I'm going to go ahead and do it without it. We'll flip that back over. First, we'll add our ground. Alright, and then we will add our 5 volts. And I got a little extra solder on here. Let me take that off. Melt that right on there. Alright, move that a little bit. I need a vice gripper or something to hold these while I'm soldering. Make it a little bit easier on me. Alright, so there's the 5-volt. And that's all I'm going to show you guys as far as the soldering. I'm going to get these other two soldered up and then I'll be back with the install of it. Alright, so next I already pre-installed some wires on the board. So over here, got the red and black. These are your 5-volt and ground. If you can see, probably not, my camera's not very good. The VTX actually directly powers the camera, so you don't have to worry about connecting the camera to the PCB. Down here we got our video out and video in. Video in will be your camera. Video out will be your VTX. So obviously video in is what's being seen, and then video out is what is going to be seen by your goggles or what is being sent out. So I already wired up or installed all the other wires, so we'll just go ahead, clean our soldering tip off, put a little bit of solder on here. And my solder does have a flex core, but I would recommend, especially if you're doing the pads, to go ahead and put some flux on there. It'll help clean all the oxidizers off. Let's see if I can get this. Might need some pliers. Alright, there we go. So we got our camera all wired up. I chose to go over the top because I already did on the bottom for the crossfire. Next, we're going to install our buzzer. I'll probably just stick some double-sided tape on it and mount it to the processing chip. All the wires are on this side. You got buzz negative, buzz positive, usually 5-volt. I'll have to double check that before I install it. And then it does have an extra ground wire, so we'll just run it to one of the ground pads on the board. So I'll be back with that whenever I'm finished. Alright, so as you guys can see, I did end up mounting my Hellgate buzzer using some double-sided tape, and for now I'm just going to mount it to the side of my frame with that carbon fiber tape. It should be alright. I might reinforce it with something else whenever I come up with a better idea. This frame is pretty compact as far as things come to mounting options. Really, even with a 20x20 stack, I like to have my stuff neat, so there's really not that much room for stuff to be neat, or not that I can think of for stuff to be optimized. But everything's in here right now, so go ahead and finish putting this frame together and then plug it into Betaflight and get it programmed. Alright, so everything's looking a lot better once we got our frame put together. You can see right here is the linear dipole antenna coming out from the VTX. I've never used one of these. Usually I use an omnidirectional, but for the purposes of saving weight and space, I'm going to use this one for now. They do make antennas with UFL connectors already on there, and you can just hook up the omnidirectional with the UFL to the VTX. But for now, I'm just going to use this. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully the video reception isn't that bad. So the last thing that's missing, obviously, from the frame is the XT60 connector. This is what you're going to use and what most people use for their batteries. I know a lot of these smaller frames comes with XT30s, which are smaller than the XT60s, obviously. But this is what the connector looks like for the battery that you're going to be using. So first off, you want to get a little bit of flux on your paintbrush or acid brush or toothpick, whatever you got, and whatever surface you're going to be soldering. This goes for on the PDB or flight controller or 4-in-1 ESC, whatever you're using. It's always good to have a little bit of flux. If you don't have any flux, it'll be really hard for your solder to join surfaces with whatever you're soldering. So let's see here if I can find my soldering. Alright, here we go. So it's always good to start with a clean tip. Cleaned off my sponge, get a little bit of solder on there. Put it on whatever you're soldering, and then you want to feed the solder onto the wire. Looks like we got a nice and even coat on that one. Go to the next one, the negative wire. Wait for it to heat up. Heating up there. And boom. So we got those wires all tinned up. I'll give you a close up so you can see how it looks. Hopefully my camera will focus, probably not. I will definitely be getting a new camera here soon. So we got those all tinned up. Next, we're going to take our XT60 connector. I already put flux on this. We're going to add our solder. So we got the negative terminal on, and then we'll go ahead and do the positive terminal if I can get it upright. Put some more on there. This is why I need a clamp or something for this. Alright, so that should be good. Got both of these pre-tinned. I'll go ahead and install this and wait for it to cool off, and then we'll do our first plug-in and make sure we don't have any shorts on the board. Make sure nothing's connected that shouldn't be connected. Alright, here we are. We are completely done with the build. Everything came together pretty nice in the end. I'm really satisfied, extremely satisfied with the Lumenier stack. This thing, the ease of build on it was amazing. It did help that I switched from a full-size Unify to the Runcam VTX, but overall, the size on here is awesome. You can see those two little PCBs right there, 1 and 2. That's it. I still have a lot of room above my stack, and that's why I actually decided to change my buzzer position and put it there. Got my XT60 just zip tied to the back. Normally this is where your VTX antenna would go, but since I'm running the linear dipole, I have it up here. So I just did that for ease, keep it out of the props. These props are Lumenier 3x4x3 props. So the first 3 is for the length, so it's for a 3-inch quad. The 4 is for the pitch, so it's 40 degrees right there. And then 3 is for the last 3 is for the amount of blades. I haven't flown with these yet because I just got them in. I was flying at HQ 5x4x3s, but they seem a little power hungry. So I want to try these out. They've gotten really good reviews. I'm not going to show you guys the beta flight setup for this. Joshua Bardwell has extremely good videos on all that stuff, especially with the newer 3.5 updates and whatnot. I'm going to be running stock PIDs and stock filtering on everything. Then you'll see how that flies in the maiden.